to make it a business in such a way that it will be profitable. So what I'm saying is, if it is done as it is the fiscal policy we have on ground, it can't work because it's not going to be profitable. A situation where you're competing with the cheaper imports, a liter of milk, for instance, that come into the country, it can be reconstituted to about 170 naira a liter, while the cost of producing a liter of milk by the Fulani man using this model of sedentary will be about 300 naira. So how can you compete with cheaper imports? Apart from these cheaper imports, the federal government subsidizes the farmer in Europe, because now dairy products are being financed at the official rate by the Central Bank of Nigeria. So that is a subsidy given to the double subsidy. In their countries, for every cow a European farmer keeps, he's been subsidized. And when he is exporting into our country, he is being subsidized for exports by export subsidy in their country. And every inch of land he keeps to feed his cow, the government in their country also subsidizes. Here you are in a country where you're only, even if you want to go into a commercial dairy farming, apart from all these losses that you're going to incur, because your competitor is actually a European farmer, you provide your utility, you have to provide your own infrastructure, you have to now provide your cold chain infrastructure, you have to now do your own insemination yourself. There's nothing to come to your aid as a commercial dairy farmer. Talk less of those that are not even doing it commercially. That's the pastoralists and others that just keep the cows for their own benefit. At the end of the day, it's only when you liquidate the cow that you make money. So the cow, it's not an asset either to you or to the society as it is. It only becomes an asset when you liquidate it. And in the process, the herdsman is even subsidizing the Nigerian meat industry, because the real cost of meat is not what is being sold. So at the end of the day, it's only government intervention in policy that will help this situation. Every other thing will fall in place once the pricing is right and you're going to make money out of it.
Now, the first thing I say, the first problem for milk, I mean, for dairy, as it were, you say that somehow it would seem that government is working at cross purposes.
Sure.
Have you spoken to the Minister of Agriculture, and is he addressing that for you?
Yeah, the Minister of Agriculture, of course, we must give him some credit in that direction. Recently, he has constituted a policy dialogue committee, which I was part of, and we've sat down and then looked at the issue of ranching versus grazing reserve, and we've submitted our report. It's in the public domain, and I heard him say, and it's also in the public domain, that he's going to convoke a national dialogue or kind of a conference, all stakeholders involved, to come up with a policy in that, an acceptable policy by the populace in that direction.
Is he also speaking with the CBN to reduce tariffs?
So this we've complained to him, we've given him our submission, and he's promised that he's going to talk to the relevant MDS also to see that they are keyed into this idea. But that much I know, I wouldn't know what has gone further. But I think the enthusiasm shown by the Minister of Agri has really been very encouraging. My only challenge is other MDS, other relevant, like the Ministry of Finance, the Central Bank of Nigeria, Ministry of Trade, should also look at this holistically. And we need to look at what are the role of customs, for instance. Are they trade facilitators or they are revenue earners?
I'm sorry I have to interrupt you. We'll have to take a moment now. When we return, we will conclude our talk on solutions to this problem. Do stay with us. Well, Mr. Muhammadu Abubakar is still with us in the studio. You were talking about what the role of customs. You were asking whether or not they're a trade facilitator or a challenge. Do you want to quickly conclude on that? Yeah,
actually, what I'm saying is we need to, as a country, define the role of our customs. Do we want them to be trade facilitators or revenue earners, and then place them accordingly? We can actually earn revenue through industrialization more to me than collection of tariffs at our borders. So if they're meant to be trade facilitators, then we'll encourage, then the policy on tariff could be guided by how it protects the local industry rather than how much money it generates. Let me give you an example. Recently, the country is flooded with foreign yogurts. And when I saw the package so beautifully done, I traveled abroad and I went with a sample and I've asked a company to produce similar so that I can compete with the cheaper imports. When I came back to Nigeria with a sample and I went to customs saying, I want to import this, they said there's a contraband. I said, but look, this is what I saw on the shelves, imported. And they said, what they are allowing to be imported is the content inside the package, not the package. I said, but how can I compete with this beautiful package if I cannot package myself to that, my product to that standard? And they said, no, you can't bring in the package. I said, okay, if I want to now import the product with the package, they said, yes, that policy allows you to do that. I said, the implication is closing my farm, sending those hundreds of employed youth onto the street, and then stopping the Fulanis from giving me milk. They said, unfortunately, that our policy says. What kind of policy are we having in this country? This is one policy. And then the second one, as I'm talking to you about, is juice, for instance, is being encouraged, the local production of juice. The tariff is about 60%, which means it's easier for you to produce locally than to import. But dairy products is 5%. So it's cheaper for you to import dairy products than to produce locally. The solution to be, because if you look at dairy industry or the livestock industry, it's divided into three streams: the upstream, the midstream, and the downstream. For the last 50 years, we've been talking on the upstream. How do we increase production? Whenever you talk, they'll tell you your cow can only give 2 liters. For God's sake, harness the 2 liters. Then we look forward to increasing the volume. The midstream is the linkage between the market and the producers. There's zero investment in it. And of course, the policy on ground does not encourage or incentivize any investment in this midstream sector, because that's what connects the producers at the upstream and the market in the downstream and the mega processors. So the mega processors that constitute about 90% are dependent on imported dairy raw material, which they are provided market for the European farmers to the detriment. So our local producers, which constitutes the herdsmen at the bottom of the pyramid, we at the middle, and then at the topmost, cannot even access this market because it's been blocked by a policy that is strictly meant to make sure we don't exist.
Well, that's definitely food for thought for the authorities, and definitely something that they have to rummage upon, if you prefer. We have to thank you most kindly for coming on Sunrise Daily. Muhammadu Abubakar is the President, Dairy Commercial Ranchers Association of Nigeria, Kodoran, an umbrella body of all commercial dairy farmers in Nigeria.